It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. Happiness consists in frequent repetition of pleasure. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. The art of not reading is a very important one. It consists in not taking an interest in whatever may be engaging the attention of the general public at any particular time. Universal compassion is the only guarantee of morality. When we read, another person thinks for us, we merely repeat his mental process. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Mostly, it is loss which teaches us about the worth of things. One should use common words to say uncommon things. Life is deeply steeped in suffering and cannot escape from it. Our entrance into it takes place amid tears. At bottom, its course is always tragic, and its end is even more so. Every miserable fool who has nothing at all of which he can be proud adopts as a last resource pride in the nation to which he belongs. He is ready and happy to defend all its faults and follies tooth and nail, thus reimbursing himself for his own inferiority. Buying books would be a good thing if one could also buy the time to read them. But as a rule, the purchase of books is mistaken for the appropriation of their contents. The assumption that animals are without rights, and the illusion that our treatment of them has no moral significance, is a positively outrageous example of Western crudity and barbarity. The person who writes for fools is always sure of a large audience. They tell us that suicide is the greatest piece of cowardice, that suicide is wrong, when it is quite obvious that there is nothing in this world to which every man has a more unassailable title than to his own life and person. Compassion for animals is intimately associated with goodness of character, and it may be confidently asserted that he who is cruel to animals cannot be a good man. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. Life is a constant process of dying. We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. To free a man from error is to give, not to take away. Knowledge that a thing is false is a truth. A sense of humor is the only divine quality of man. If children were brought into the world by an act of pure reason alone, would the human race continue to exist? Books are humanity in print. The cheapest sort of pride is national pride. For if a man is proud of his own nation, it argues that he has no qualities of his own of which he can be proud. Otherwise, he would not have recourse to those which he shares with so many millions of his fellowmen. The man who is endowed with important personal qualities will be only too ready to see clearly in what respects his own nation falls short, since their failings will be constantly before his eyes. I have not yet spoken my last word about women. I believe that if a woman succeeds in withdrawing from the mass, or rather, raising herself from above the mass, she grows ceaselessly and more than a man. A man finds himself, to his great astonishment, suddenly existing after thousands and thousands of years of non-existence. He lives for a little while, and then again comes an equally long period when he must exist no more. The heart rebels against this and feels that it cannot be true. There are very few who can think, but every man wants to have an opinion. And what remains but to take it ready-made from others, instead of forming opinions for himself. Politeness is to human nature what warmth is to wax. Ordinary people merely think how they shall spend their time. A man of talent tries to use it. Rascals are always sociable, and the chief sign that a man has any nobility in his character is the little pleasure he takes in others' company. How very paltry and limited the normal human intellect is, and how little lucidity there is in the human consciousness, may be judged from the fact that, despite the ephemeral brevity of human life, the uncertainty of our existence, and the countless enigmas which press upon us from all sides, every one does not continually and ceaselessly philosophize, but that only the rarest of exceptions do. However, for the man who studies to gain insight, books and studies are merely rings of the ladder on which he climbs to the summit of knowledge. Truth is no harlot who throws her arms round the neck of him who does not desire her. On the contrary, she is so coy a beauty that even the man who sacrifices everything to her can still not be certain of her favors. Life is short and truth works far and lives long. Let us speak the truth. There is only one inborn error, and that is the notion that we exist in order to be happy. Faith is like love, it does not let itself be forced. What disturbs and depresses young people is the hunt for happiness on the firm assumption that it must be met within life. Deceptive images of a vague happiness hover before us in our dreams, and we search in vain for their original. Almost all of our sorrows spring out of our relations with other people. There is no more mistaken path to happiness than worldliness. Treat a work of art like a prince, let it speak to you first. So the problem is not so much to see what nobody has yet seen, as to think what nobody has yet thought concerning that which everybody sees. Without books, the development of civilization would have been impossible. Hope is the confusion of the desire for a thing with its probability. Philosophy is a science, and as such, has no articles of faith. Accordingly, in it nothing can be assumed as existing except what is either positively given empirically, or demonstrated through indubitable conclusions. Marrying means to have one's rights and double one's duties. If life, the craving for which is the very essence of our being, were possessed of any positive intrinsic value, there would be no such thing as boredom at all. Mere existence would satisfy us in itself, and we should want for nothing. Reading is merely a surrogate for thinking for yourself. It means letting someone else direct your thoughts. Many books, moreover, serve merely to show how many ways there are of being wrong, and how far astray you yourself would go if you followed their guidance.